This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill.
Do not be afraid. We are now in control of what you hear.
1, 2, 3, testing.
A journey to the far reaches of knowledge and the unknown.
I can't believe I just saw that.
From aliens to angels, conspiracies to cover-ups.
One soul and
Preeminent power.
From extraterrestrials to exposing the truth.
I'll try to explain as much as I can.
You're listening to Planet X.
You're listening to Planet X.
Planet X.
Good evening everybody and welcome to Planet X. This is the first of our weekly shows. My name is Darren Perks and you are now listening to the Darren Perks Show on Planet X Live. Those of you that are able to get onto our forum, you can access it through the show, and that's www.planetxlive.co.uk. And this is the first show that I'm going to be doing online. It's going to be every Thursday from 8 PM. And I'm going to go into things such as UFOs, extraterrestrials, and all the related subjects. It's a huge, massive subject, and I know we've covered it so many times on the show before. But what I want to bring to you is a bit of a discussion. So some of the weeks I'll be talking on my own and going over various subjects, and you guys will then be able to get on the forum and give us your response. And then other weeks I'm going to have some guests in as well. What I'm aiming to do is get some guests in that are more on the public's sort of wavelength, if you like. I want to get everyday people. Those people are going to have various beliefs. I'm going to get some skeptics in, because I think skeptics are, not only do they provide humour to a lot of us, but they also give the other angle to all these things that we talk about, you know. So as I say, this is the first of our Thursday shows, the Darren Perks Show, and tonight for this first show, what I wanted to do was basically just go over a few things and look at the basics behind the whole UFO phenomena. UFOs, unidentified flying objects. Many of us have varied views on the subject. I myself am known for let's hold in some controversial views, but I'm no expert in the subject. At the end of the day, you guys out there listening to this show, you are the experts. I can't tell you what to believe. I can't tell you 100% what you may witness in the sky, but hopefully by the end of this show, you guys will have a bit of an idea of how I, as a UFO investigator and researcher, go about things, and maybe it'll give you a few pointers on what you can do. These days, modern technology is obviously upon us. There's no more need for film cameras, if you like, with the old film that used to take into Boots or wherever else and get it developed. Most people these days have cameras on their cell phones or mobile phones, and they're of a pretty decent quality. That saying, when people witness something in the sky or at low level that they can't easily identify, the mind doesn't automatically say, quick, take a picture or take a video. So I'm going to cover that as well. For those of you that don't know me, I'll give you a bit of a quick background. I know there's a profile of me there on the Team X page on planetxlive.co.uk, but I've been investigating UFOs now for probably since sort of late 2007, and you know, that's not a long time compared to some people in the UFO community, but I like to think that I do things myself. I witnessed the infamous COSFROD UFO incident, also known as the British UFO mystery, and that was on March 30th and 31st 1993. And on the evening of March the 30th, from approximately 8:30 onwards, a large structured black triangle, an unknown flying object, nobody knew who it belonged to, entered British airspace over the southwestern UK in the Somerset and Cornwall areas, and it proceeded to fly up and down the country. It was witnessed by police officers, it was witnessed by scouts, it was witnessed by members of the public, air traffic controllers, RAF military police officers, and it was witnessed by myself. What is significant about that incident is that it freely overflew two of the UK's biggest RAF bases at that time, and two of the most important Royal Air Force bases today in the UK. They were RAF Shawbury and RAF Cosford. Back in 1993, they were both responsible for training personnel from pilots through to technicians and intelligence operatives. And today, RAF Cosford in particular is still very much up there on the avionics and technician side of things and photography. And RAF Shawbury is the main RAF Central Flying School for all three of the military arms in the United Kingdom. So we are responsible at that base for training pilots, training instructors, and even it's famous for the Prince William and Prince Harry. That's where they learnt to fly helicopters. So it's an important base, and it's very much part of the Cosford incident. I'm not going to cover it in depth. Okay, you can go onto my website, www.ufoshropshire.co.uk, and along the top of the homepage there, you can look at various tabs, and the Cosford incident is there, and you can also view the MOD, the Ministry of Defence files that they released on the incident. So basically, from 2007 onwards, I came across by accident Nick Pope. Used to work for the MOD. Most people in the UFO community or have an interest in UFOs know who Nick Pope is. He's very knowledgeable on the subject. He does a lot of media work, and I accidentally stumbled across him, and the Cosford incident hit me in the forehead, right between my eyes. And I then realised at that time that I was part of something much bigger, and I contacted Nick, and well, the story, that's how the story goes. So prior to witnessing the Cosford incident, I didn't think much of UFOs and aliens and extraterrestrials. I didn't really have an interest in it. But when I realised in 2007 that I was part of something much bigger, and I knew that I had seen something that couldn't conventionally be explained, I then developed a thirst to find out what's going on, and that thirst has now carried me through to 2013, and here I am. I'm now an investigating researcher. I physically go out and get my hands dirty. I go up hills in all weathers, whether it be rain, ice, sleet, snow, hot summer sunshine that we've been experiencing lately, and I'll go up there and I'll liaise with UFO witnesses, people that claim to have been abducted, people that have seen crop circles, animal mutilations, you name it. I'll go and have a look at it, because at the end of the day, I personally feel, and this is my official view, that if you're going to investigate UFOs, not only do you sit behind a computer and do it, but you need to get out there and you need to get into the community and you need to speak to people that might have seen things. 9 times out of 10, UFO sightings don't get reported. So it's up to people like me and a few other guys in the UK and around the world to release reports. Look, at the end of the day, guys, okay, I run UFO Shropshire, it's a UFO group. It's private, and I hands up, I don't have any problems with that. Some people do, but it's my way of controlling a serious investigation group. I could quite easily have an open group. I could say to everyone, right, 50 people, let's all go and stand on the northern Welsh hills, and let's do a massive sky watch. We'll be up there for 6 hours. Everybody bring your equipment, everybody bring your cameras and torches. Just imagine it, guys. Imagine 50 people standing on the side of a mountain called Mole Sick where the Berwyn UFO crashed in 1974. It's not going to work, is it? Because 1, everyone's going to be talking. 2, everyone's going to be shining their lights everywhere, and 3, and this comes into it from my point of view, there's probably not going to be a very good energy. And I'm not being funny. If you're going looking for UFOs and you're serious about trying to make contact, if shall we say, they're not going to want to come down and sit in front of you when there's 50 people pointing things into the sky. So I put a lot of control on things. I do a lot of the investigation on my own, but I have a team of 5 people. They work with me. They varied from, one is an RAF pilot, it's still an RAF pilot. One is an ex-scientist, one is an ex-mechanic, and one is an architect, or in his spare time is an architect. But all of those people have an interest and a belief that we are not alone. Okay, so we go about our investigation and we share the responsibilities, but we go about it in a way that is, well, it's a common sense approach at the end of the day. Because if a farmer contacts me and says, you know, I've seen these series of lights in the valley and they've been flying up and down, they've been scaring the animals, we don't know what they are, they're definitely not helicopters, there's a procedure, okay, that we go through, and it's basically a process of elimination. Because you can't just jump head first in and say, yeah, it's definitely aliens, it's definitely little green men from Mars. That's not the way to do it, because you're not being rational and people are going to think you're stupid. And that is why ufology gets sometimes a bad name for itself, because people just assume that automatically all these UFO people are going to say, yeah, definitely aliens. 95% of the time it's not. It can be explained. So you have to go through this process of elimination, and whether that involves evidence, and if any evidence is great, but that can be from people writing witness statements or accounts, and it can be people drawing what they've seen. I'm a big believer in people drawing what they witnessed if they can, taking pictures and having video. Some of you listening tonight will be well aware of the latest UFO incidents. Some of you won't. But to date, nobody, and I mean nobody, not even the Queen, not even Obama, and not even David Cameron, not even me, not even Nick Pope, not even all those famous UFO people that you see at the Citizens Hearing on Disclosure, and not even Dr. Stephen Greer, has 100% evidence of extraterrestrials. Okay? Nobody, none of those people have a clear picture. Billy Meyer has pictures. Billy Meyer has pictures of beam ships, Pleiadian beam ships. Can I confirm that they are real? No, I can't. In the latest news this week, in fact, Billy Meyer's pictures of the infamous flying saucer, if you like, I'll relate to it as that. James Fox has said he's going to give Billy Meyer $100,000. Basically, where that came from was that James Fox was a film director and producer, and he said earlier on this year that he was going to give $100,000 to the person that could prove evidence of UFOs and extraterrestrials by the way of photos, video, whatever. And he's come out this week, the first week of August, and he said, I'm going to give it to Billy Meyer because his picture of the beam ship hovering above Billy Meyer's ranch is the best that he's seen yet. We've covered it on the show before. We had Michael Horn on previously, and I know a lot of people will ridicule Billy Meyer's work, but the guy has something there. Okay, the guy has had some sort of contact in my eyes, in my view. Okay, I can't prove that those pictures are real, and I can't prove that they're not real, but there is something there, and there's something unique. At the end of the day, Billy Meyer has prophesized all these things that are going to happen, and so far, folks, he's got it right. Unfortunately, the mainstream media don't focus on what he's been doing.
Get in touch with Planet X. Call, text, email. Find us on Facebook.
Okay then, folks. Obviously, we're an interactive show, and what I'd like you guys to do tonight, if you feel up to it, is we would really like you guys to start giving us your views on our forum. So if you go onto the website www.planetxlive.co.uk and along the top of the page there you've got the option to go to the page and the forum. And if you take a look at the forum, guys, there is so many different subjects and so many ways that we've split it up into. And one of the things that we like to do is keep you up in the news. And you'll know that if you listen to the main show on a Sunday evening, not every week, but over a few weeks, you know, we cover the latest news. So we've got that in the forum, but what we want you guys to do is get on there. If you haven't registered, become a member of the forum, because it is a great forum. There's a lot of information on there, and if you come across something that you think, wow, yeah, you know, that's interesting, put it out there, because we're giving you the opportunity to share your news and your information with us. Because yes, we can go and research it and look it up for the show, and it's quite easy for me to sit here and talk about UFOs and whatever. But if you come up with something, if you find something on a blog or website that you think, wow, that's really, really cool, and that's interesting, or there's a big conspiracy behind that, share your views, folks. You'll also see on the forum that we cover paranormal, ghosts, we cover time slips, we cover ancient theories, civilizations and conspiracies, and we've got a general chit-chat forum. But we've also got a suggestion forum. Now, I'm a big believer in trying new things and listening to the people, getting the feedback and getting your views. It's an interactive show. Like I said, we like you to give your comments and your views. But by giving your view on the forum, it gives others a chance to look at what you're thinking. So, for example, you might respond to something to do with the Bilderberg conference that happened earlier this year, and you might not agree with what somebody said or what somebody did. So put your view down, because then that will generate a response, and then it gives up a bit of banter, and you know, it's a really interactive forum. So go for it, guys. Obviously there are rules and regulations, but you know, we want your input, and you know, I'm quite happy to get some of you on my show on a Thursday night. Not a problem at all. I can get you on, and you know, we like to hear your views back, because if we can get you on the Sunday night talking about what you really believe in, that is what we want to hear. It's you, the peoples. It's you, the people that share your voice. You are the people that other people are going to listen to. We don't care about the government. We don't care about the authorities. We're just sitting back watching them make mistake after mistake after mistake. Times are changing, so the forum is an excellent opportunity for you guys to put your views across. And please do. After this week's show, you might have listened to the Darren Perks Show, and you might think, okay, that's cool, maybe Darren could do this, or I want to hear Darren talk about this. You know, put your views out there, or drop us an email to show@planetx.live.co.uk, and we'll get back to it, and maybe we could look at covering it. Or maybe one of the other guys that are doing their shows on another night, you might not be able to get hold of those, or you might want to put your view across. Stick it on the forum, folks. Nice and easy.
This is Planet X. Planet X.
Okay, folks, so enough about forums. You know what to do, you know how to handle it. If you didn't, you wouldn't be listening to me now online, okay? And just to reiterate, guys, when we go live online, like I'm doing tonight, this is not just in the UK, it's not just in Europe, it's worldwide, okay? Anybody can go on the internet, type in planetxlive.co.uk, click the button that says listen live, and you can hear us. The schedule's up there. It's not just me, they're all the other guys. And then of course we've got the main show with the main experts and guests on the Sunday evening. Now, what I want to talk about in this show, and forgive me guys, because this first show, it doesn't really have a structure to it. I've talked about UFOs, I've talked about Billy Meyer, I've talked about Bilderberg, I've mentioned the forum, so there isn't really a structure to it. I'm just sitting here and I'm just rambling away to you. But hey ho, you know, this is the first show, and those of you that haven't heard me on the radio before, I hope in some ways you can kind of get the feel of the way that I'm going to be talking. Okay, I am quite controversial. I don't care. I'm not just going to talk about UFOs. I'm not going to swear at you. That would be improper of me. Okay, but I will cover some subjects and I'll give him my view. Okay, I'm going to give you my view now on Bilderberg. Okay, I'm not going to go into dates. We've covered it on the main show. But listen, if you cast your minds back to Bilderberg, okay, you had David Icke and you had Alex Jones come over from the US, and we all know that the slimy government authoritative so-and-sos that are members of Bilderberg were sitting in that hotel at the Grove in Watford, and they were discussing all sorts of things. Hands up who would have loved to have been a fly on the wall during one of those meetings. Just think about that for a minute. Think about some of the things that they would have been talking about. Okay, we all know what went on there. We've read about it in the newspapers. We've read about it in the Sun. We watched it on Russia Today. We watched it on Sky News, and we listened to it on YouTube. We read about it on David Icke's website. We read about it on Infowars.com. But you also read about it on the Planet X Live forum, because a few weeks and a couple of months before the event took place in June, myself and a couple of other people were making inquiries into the Bilderberg 2013 conference. Okay, I don't hold back on what I do, and if I can see an opening and I can see that I can get information, then I'll try and get it out of people. And if that means me being sneaky, then that means me being sneaky. Okay, I'm going to refer to our forum again. Alright, go and have a look on the forum, and look at the posts about Bilderberg in the news. I phoned up the Grove Hotel weeks before the event even took place. Okay, and I pretended to be a potential customer, if shall we say, who was interested in the golfing facilities, who was interested in the spa. Okay, and by way of persuasion, I don't know how I do it, I just talking to the staff on the other end of the phone, I managed to get out of the staff that the Bilderberg conference was going to definitely take place at the hotel. Okay, and it makes my blood boil, okay, that certain people, certain politicians swipe it under the table. Okay, won't mention any names as such, but there was one politician who, in the House of Lords, in fact, sod it, I'll name him, Charles Clarke, in the House of Lords, laughed it off like it was nobody's business, like it was a day out at Blackpool on the beach. He didn't care. He just said all the conspiracy theorists are going to make up all sorts of stories about Bilderberg. Too right, we're making up stories about Bilderberg. In fact, we're not making them up, Charles Clarke. It's real. It's a real deal. You've got the likes of Charles Clarke, George Osborne, and David Cameron, and Hillary Clinton, people who hold positions of power, lording it up in a posh hotel in the south of England, and they are the people that handle our futures behind a secret veil. And it makes my blood boil. I'm not going to go off on it too much, but do you know what, folks? Bilderberg 2013, that was held in the UK in Watford, was the most significant Bilderberg event to happen in the last 10 years. Not because it was in the UK, because the fact that all those thousands of people turned out to protest, turned out to talk to each other and share their views. David Icke, Alex Jones and other speakers turned up to speak to the people. And we have the power to change things en masse. We don't need to listen to the Bilderberg group. We don't need to listen to Mr. De Castries, the head of Bilderberg, dictate to his cronies and dictate to us how we should live our lives. We don't want to be part of the New World Order. Nobody wants to be part of the New World Order. Okay, so listen, folks, it's kind of been forgotten about Bilderberg a little bit. There is talk on the forums going on, but listen, the next time it comes to the UK, I want more people to be there. In fact, I want tens of thousands of people to be there. We'll do our best to find out if it does come back to the UK. But after this year's event and all the protests and the £15 million that it cost the taxpayer, yes, you heard me correct, £15 million that the Hertfordshire police got paid, I don't think we may see it in the UK for the next few years or so. But listen, folks, next time it does come back, we need more people to turn out. We need more people to air our views, because it's up to us. Okay? So, Bilderberg, whenever it comes back to the UK, let's get down there. We're not going there to disrupt it. We're going there to show that we're not going to stand up for any more nonsense.
Planet X. Strange goings on.
Okay, so I just want to touch on something completely random. Okay? Strange goings on. Okay, what is happening around you at the moment that has made you sit there and think, God, that was a bit strange, that was a bit weird? I wonder. Okay, I want you guys, while you're listening to the show, or after you've listened to the show, I want you to get back on the forum and I want you to share your strange goings on. I'll give you an example. Okay, for the last 2 or 3 years, and this is about myself, okay, for the last 2 or 3 years, in fact, the last 3 or 4 years, okay, in the old house where I used to live, I used to hear this strange knocking in the night when I was going to sleep, and my girlfriend used to say to me, you know, that's the spirits. That is the spirits knocking. They're trying to wake you up or do whatever. They're trying to communicate. I don't know. Okay, the spirits, ghosties. Okay, those kind of things. And a good friend of mine, Carol, says to me, Darren, before you go to sleep at night, tell them in your mind or in your heart, say to them, don't wake me up at night time, daytime only. I don't want to know. Nighttime is for sleeping. All right, so that was a bit weird, but this went on, as I say, for the last 3 or 4 years. But you know, in the last few months, and I don't know if any of you guys can relate to this, I've woken up in the night and you're in that subconscious state when you get the impression that there's a dark, shadowy figure standing over you to the side of the bed. I'm not going to describe the inside of my house where I live, but on a few occasions now, and it has made me jump and hit the ceiling and shout out loud, scared. There's been a large black figure standing next to me. Now, guys, I don't take drugs, I don't smoke cannabis, and I don't drink every night, so my judgment isn't affected in that way, but it's weird. Something strange is going on there, and I have not got a clue what it is. Alright, so if any of you listening to tonight's show have experienced something similar, do you know what? Let me know. Let us know, because I want to know. And it's interesting because I go to a lot of social events and I do network and I speak to people and just in general chit chat, people say the strangest of things happened to me the other day. I knew that was going to happen. Have you heard that before? Have you heard someone say, do you know what? I knew that was going to happen. I could see it coming. You know the phrase, I could see that happening. I could see that coming. We've all heard it before. And those of us among us that are psychic or spiritually tuned in, and I know a lot of people that are, will be able to relate to what I was saying there. It's interesting, isn't it? Because there's also the deja vu effect. Oh, it feels like I've been here before. I'm sure that happened to me last week. You know, we've all heard these things, folks, but it is weird, isn't it? There are some weird things going on. And strange as it seems, I think globally, around the planet, there's some pretty weird things. It's just strange things. I don't know, you know. Let's have a look. In America, right, in the USA, we've got all these sinkholes opening up. In Florida, in Alabama, Kansas, I think, Ohio, California. was the last one I read of. These massive sinkholes. Now, okay, let's look at it from a scientific point of view, or from the common sense point of view, inverted commas, if you're the mainstream media. But let's have a look. They're going to turn around and say, yeah, it's limestone. There's limestone in the earth, and it's been eroded away by water and whatever. Okay, yes, we know that happens. I've been to Mexico. I've seen the natural sinkholes in the limestone rock. Yeah, okay, fair point. But it doesn't happen in granite areas, unless you've been purposely doing secret testing of explosions under the ground. But these sinkholes are appearing in residential areas, folks. You know, I remember, I think it was Louisiana or somewhere like that. I remember watching a news report on the internet of a guy. He was in his bedroom, and a sinkhole opened up under his house while he was asleep in his bed, and he fell straight into it. His brother or a family member or his friend, whoever it was, tried to get him out. The guy died. And I've heard some pretty weird explanations. You know, I've heard someone say to me recently, yeah, that's the grey aliens. It's the ant people. There's the ETs that live under the ground. They're coming in from Middle Earth, and they've had enough. The dark forces are trying to come back, and these sinkholes are their way through to the Earth's surface. Okay, that's one thing I've heard. Personally, I don't think that's what it is, but I can't prove it. I'm not going to discount it. I don't think that's what it is. I'm not going to discount it and rubbish it. That's what the skeptics do. Okay, but you know, you've got to have a bit of common sense. Personally, I think there's a lot of things going on with the Earth. There's a lot of changes. I think it's got something to do possibly with the magnetic shift. We know that it's happening. We all have to go and do our research ourselves to work out why it's happening, because there aren't many programs on the TV that you want to go and watch, and to be fair, those programs are pretty much fixed or made up, and whatever propaganda is thrown into them. That's my view. Share your views. What do you think it is? What do you think those large sinkholes are? And there's another thing as well that I find quite strange at the moment, is the focus on the global terror threat. Now, I don't want to get into this too much, folks, but the global terror threat from Al Qaeda and all these other terrorist groups is very real. But there's another side to it. And I just find it strange all of a sudden that we're getting news reports that in Yemen, in the Middle East, all the terrorists in the world, all the bad guys, they're all gathering. They're all going to this city in Yemen. So all the US and the UK embassies are shutting down, and they're moving the staff out because there's going to be a terror attack. Okay, it kind of, do you know what? It feels like deja vu. There we go, deja vu again. And I don't know whether this is part of the bigger plan by the US government and authorities to scare us into thinking that something's going to happen. But I just get this feeling that there's another agenda. Is it strange for me to think that? I don't know. Does anyone else share that view? Look, the whole terror thing, it gets on my nerves. It really does get on my nerves, because we've seen what I believe to be quite a few false flag events. And I believe the Boston bombings was a false flag event, and I believe 9/11 was a false flag event. No one is going to change my mind. The evidence is there, folks. It's plain to see. So, is this new terror threat that we're seeing in the Middle East, is it propaganda? Is this something made up? Is this part of the bigger plan? Is it because Obama's not getting his way? Has it got something to do with Edward Snowden defecting to Russia? Which I'm personally going to say, and I don't care, well done to the guy. Just to step off the mark there. So it is strange, isn't it? So the global terror threat, what I'm saying here, folks, is it part of something much bigger, much darker, Is it a made up thing by the authorities? I think it probably could be. And do you know what? I think the US and the UK are in it neck deep. They're up to their necks in it. Something's going to happen, folks. I don't know what. You know, only time will tell. Something's going to happen. And it's not going to be nice. And it's not going to be pretty for a lot of people. A lot of people are going to suffer. But it needs to stop. You know, all we hear on the BBC and the Sky, on the news, is all this main propaganda stuff. But I just find it strange, yeah? I find it strange that all of a sudden the focus is switched back to the terror threat, the global terror threat.
X marks the spot. This is Planet X.
Okay, folks, this is basically, we've come to an end of this first show, this first Darren Perks show, and there's going to be many more to come. And I've rambled on. I've covered a few subjects. What we're going to do week to week, like I said earlier, I'm going to get some guests in. Obviously it'll be advertised further in advance, but one of the things I like to do is just sit here and talk to you. So, you know, it's not a 2-hour show that I've done today. You know, it's under an hour, but I hope you guys, the listeners, can relate to some of the things. I hope you can get used to my voice. I don't know, some of you might find me annoying, some of you might find me agreeable, and some of you might find me quite amusing, but I really don't care. Listen, folks, we're all here for a purpose, okay? Whether we all make the step up to the next grade with these earth changes, okay? That's another matter. What I will say is the UFO subject, the conspiracy, the paranormal subjects, all these things, and some of the things I've talked about today, they are massive subjects, okay? And it's people like Planet X, it's people like us that are sharing the knowledge. You're not going to hear things like this on the BBC. You're not going to hear things like this on independent radio stations. I'm not advertising anything, I'm just advertising Planet X, yeah? But listen, you're not going to hear stuff like this. No holds barred. There are no rules. And we can talk about whatever we want. We can give whatever view we want to give. Okay? And that is exactly what we're going to do. So, what I want you to do, guys, is go away. Listen to the other shows. Don't forget to join us 8 o'clock every Sunday night for the main show. And www.planetxlive.co.uk. Listen live on air. And obviously this podcast will be put up on YouTube as well, so my shows will be in. And in advance we'll try and let you know what I'm going to talk about. Again, send me your views. What do you want me to talk about? What do you want me to cover? Okay, remember, no holds barred. Yeah, share your views. What I'm going to do, guys, is if you want to be a guest on my show, if you feel strongly about your views, you know, I'll have a look at it. You know, we'll consider getting you on. Why not? You know, we don't have to be listening to the same old experts, so to speak, all the time. We've seen them on the telly. We've seen them on Ancient Aliens. Yeah, I want to hear your experiences. I want to hear about you when you saw something in the sky, or you saw a ghost, or you think this, or you think that. All right, folks, so it's been an absolute pleasure to be spending this Thursday evening with you. Every Thursday from 8 o'clock, the Darren Perks Show will be on air on planetxlive.co.uk. Folks, thank you very much. Stay tuned, stay safe. Signing out.
listening to Planet X.
Planet X, the biggest paranormal show on radio.
This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill.
Do not be afraid. We are now in control of what you hear.
1, 2, 3, testing.
A journey to the far reaches of knowledge and the unknown.
I can't believe I just saw that.
From aliens to angels, conspiracies to cover-ups.
One soul and
Preeminent power.
From extraterrestrials to exposing the truth.
I'll try and explain as much as I can.
You're listening to Planet X.
You're listening to Planet X.
Planet X.
Good evening everybody and welcome to Planet X. This is the first of our weekly shows. My name is Darren Perks and you are now listening to the Darren Perks Show on Planet X Live. Those of you that are able to get onto our forum, you can access it through the show, and that's www.planetxlive.co.uk. And this is the first show that I'm going to be doing online. It's going to be every Thursday from 8 PM. And I'm going to go into things such as UFOs, extraterrestrials, and all the related subjects. It's a huge, massive subject, and I know we've covered it so many times on the show before. But what I want to bring to you is a bit of a discussion. So some of the weeks I'll be talking on my own and going over various subjects, and you guys will then be able to get on the forum and give us your response. And then other weeks I'm going to have some guests in as well. What I'm aiming to do is get some guests in that are more on the public's sort of wavelength, if you like. I want to get everyday people. Those people are going to have various beliefs. I'm going to get some skeptics in, because I think skeptics are, not only do they provide humour to a lot of us, but they also give the other angle to all these things that we talk about, you know. So, as I say, this is the first of our Thursday shows, the Darren Perks Show, and tonight for this first show, what I wanted to do was basically just go over a few things and look at the basics behind the whole UFO phenomena. UFOs, unidentified flying objects. Many of us have varied views on the subject. I myself am known for say, let's hold in some controversial views, but I'm no expert in the subject. At the end of the day, you guys out there listening to this show, you are the experts. I can't tell you what to believe. I can't tell you 100% what you may witness in the sky, but hopefully by the end of this show, you guys will have a bit of an idea of how I, as a UFO investigator and researcher, go about things, and maybe it'll give you a few pointers on what you can do. These days, modern technology is obviously upon us, and on the evening of March the 30th, from approximately 8:30 onwards, a large structured black triangle, an unknown flying object, nobody knew who it belonged to, entered British airspace over the southwestern UK in the Somerset and Cornwall areas, and it proceeded to fly up and down the country. It was witnessed by police officers, it was witnessed by scouts, it was witnessed by members of the public, air traffic controllers, RAF military police officers, and it was witnessed by myself. What is significant about that incident is that it freely overflew two of the UK's biggest RAF bases at that time, and two of the most important Royal Air Force bases today in the UK. They were RAF Shawbury and RAF Cosford. Back in 1993, they were both responsible for training personnel from pilots through to technicians and intelligence operatives. And today, RAF Cosford in particular is still very much up there on the avionics and technician side. There's no more need for film cameras, if you like, with the old film that used to take into Boots or wherever else and get it developed. Most people these days have cameras on their cell phones or mobile phones, and they're of a pretty decent quality. That saying, when people witness something in the sky or at low level that they can't easily identify, the mind doesn't automatically say, quick, take a picture or take a video. So I'm going to cover that as well. For those of you that don't know me, I'll give you a bit of a quick background. I know there's a profile of me there on the Team X page on planetxlive.co.uk, but I've been investigating UFOs now for probably since sort of late 2007, and you know, that's not a long time compared to some people in the UFO community, but I like to think that I do things myself. I witnessed the infamous Cosford UFO incident, also known as the British UFO mystery, and that was on March 30th and 31st, 1993.